All right, good morning everybody, and welcome to your first day of class. I hope that you've gotten off to a good start so far and that you have gotten all of your welcome information done. You had the welcome video and the syllabus video and the Moodle video, and then you had quizzes over each of those. If you are watching this video, you are now in lecture test 1 material. And I just kind of wanted to give you an overview since I don't get a chance to see you in class. I kind of wanted to go over the expectation, and honestly, sometimes the first test can be the hardest because you don't know what to expect. So we're going to take a look at a couple of things, okay? The first thing I want you to look at is your Moodle. And so we are here, lecture test 1. You can see that all the other lecture tests are not currently published. I'll kind of open them up as we go. And so when you click on lecture test 1, I know that you watched the Moodle video, but I just want to go over a few important things. So the first thing is that everything is due for this first lecture test by April 1st, so that's a week from today. And on this day, you have to take your test by 8 o'clock. If you are testing in the testing center, they close at 8, and so you have to be there by 7 in order to get that test taken. And then your Moodle assignments are all due by midnight that night. Now, I'm going to be honest with you here in that you should really not be doing the Moodle assignments after you have taken the test, okay? So even though they are due after, I would not wait to do those assignments. So these Moodle assignments are a couple of quizzes, a video to watch, and both of these things are going to be helpful in helping you prepare for that test. So please don't put it off until the last minute. Now, as we scroll down, we have, this is the video that you clicked on, but as we keep moving forward, you have this things to know. Now, if you bought the packet, which hopefully you have, but if you bought the packet in the bookstore, in that packet, at the very beginning of each lecture unit, is going to be the things to know, okay? And so I have pulled this up, and it looks like this. And so this right here is going to be a very important document for each lecture test. So on this things to know, it goes over the objectives. So our first test is going to be over chapter 1 and chapter 2. You can see that for chapter 1 there's 7 objectives, and the PowerPoints are broken down by objective, the videos are broken down by objective, and so this is a great way to kind of break it up into pieces. So anatomy can be very difficult just because of the amount of information. And so I want to encourage you greatly to break this down into pieces, and kind of taking these one objective at a time is going to be a great way for you to break it down. So whenever you study or as you're preparing for the test, one thing you could do is kind of take it one objective at a time, you know, distinguish between anatomy and physiology. And so it may be either in a notebook or even just in your brain. You should be able to determine the difference between anatomy and physiology. And so as you're preparing for the test and I'm reading these objectives, if I don't know them, that's when I need to go back to my notes. I need to go back and watch videos and make sure that I understand that material. So this is kind of the basic, you know, how everything is broken down. Now for this first test, because it's 2 chapters, you will see 2 essays, okay? And really don't be alarmed by the word essay. I would say really they are more short answer, okay? They're not going to be long, multi-paragraph type of essays. Essentially what you need to do is you need to answer the question, okay? So each one is going to be a little bit different. One thing I want to point out here is that they are broken down. They tell you what chapter they're in. So negative feedback is in chapter 1. And then if you notice, all of these other ones are coming from chapter 2, okay? So you know exactly what to expect. Now you're only going to see 2 of these, and it'll be a random choice. So you will randomly get 2 of these essays. But I'm going to, once again, greatly encourage you to make sure that you plan ahead. So before you ever take that test, you need to go through, I would write out these essays, kind of shorthand, maybe in outline form, and kind of prepare. Now, it's actually dual purpose. If you're preparing for these essays, you're also preparing for these objectives up here, okay? Because this information is also information that you're going to see up in those main objectives. And so you're going to see multiple choice questions about these things as well, okay? So before you ever go to take that test, because 10 points of your test grade is wrapped up in these essays. So you're going to have 5 points each. So you don't just want to lose 10 points by not being prepared, okay? And this is where if you have any questions, any concerns, you're not understanding something, you are more than welcome to come and see me. You are more than welcome to email me, and I'll be happy to help you in any way possible. But once again, you're going to see 2 of these essays on your test. Be prepared for all 6. All right, as we scroll down on our things to know, the last thing on there are word bits. And this is one thing that when I'm teaching, with or without these word bits on your test, I think one of the best ways you can try to understand something is to break the words down. And so in every lecture test, you're going to have some word bit matching. And so these are the word bits that you need to know. These are prefixes and suffixes that are commonly found in words that you are going to come across. A lot of these we will see over and over and over again, like bio. Bio means life. You're going to see that in biomolecules, obviously biology. Things like peri, around, we're going to see that one a lot as we go into the structure in different systems. Hydro, water, we see that one several times. Mono, one, we see that one several times. Poly, many. Lysis. So this is a great way to get automatic points, okay? When it comes to studying, your word bits are going to be straight up memorization, okay? If you're a flashcard maker, this would be an excellent thing to make flashcards for. Put the word bit on the front, put the meaning on the back, and you will have at least 2 questions where you're matching 5 word bits. And once again, it's going to be a random selection, okay? So just make sure you do prepare for that as well. Kind of like with the essays, those are points that you really don't want to give up because there's no surprises about what you're going to see on the test. All right, so that kind of goes over the things to know. Once again, this document is going to be in your packet. You also have access to it on Moodle. And so now let's go back to our Moodle, okay? So every one of your units is going to be set up in a very similar fashion, okay? So you're going to start with the notes. These are the PowerPoints. Now, something that you may or may not want to use. These are not included in your packet. This is something that I do, okay? This is something that I've always done for my students as a teacher. This is not something that I don't think any other teacher uses. So for every PowerPoint, there is a fill-in-the-blank note sheet, okay? So if you have access to a printer, I would encourage you to print these off, okay? If I were to see you in person, I would have these in class ready for you to go. But what you're going to do with these, if you choose, once again, it's optional. There's no grade tied to it. But if you want to, you can print these off, and they go hand in hand with the PowerPoints. So for me personally, I don't like studying on a computer screen. I like to have paper in my hand. Not everybody likes these. I like to kind of think and plan and outline form, and so this is a great way for me to study. You can jot notes off to the side, but it kind of just gives you something to do as you're watching the PowerPoints. So instead of just watching and listening, it kind of helps you pick out important words. And I don't just have you filling in random words here. You're not filling in and, okay? You're a lot of times filling in very important vocabulary. So this is just another tool if you choose to use it, okay? You do not have to, but these fill-in-the-blank note handouts, there should be one of these for every PowerPoint that is posted. So if you'd like, you're more than welcome to print those and fill those out. These are for you and you only, okay? Now, I do want you to notice that it's broken down by objective. And so when it comes to studying, just kind of a helpful tip, I would study in small increments, okay? I would not necessarily try to do a whole chapter in one day, okay? Now, if we were to meet in person, we'd have one day to go over chapter 1. And we would have one class day to go over chapter 2. But with you guys doing this on your own at home, I would break it up into smaller pieces. So maybe focus on 2 to 3 objectives a day. Get the notes done, maybe do some practice activities, work on your questions, whatever you need to do to help you understand that material. So I just kind of wanted to show you that resource. You definitely have that available to you. All right, as we go back to the Moodle, so first thing you come across are the things to know, then you have your notes, and then you have the fill-in-the-blank note handouts. Something I plan on adding today is a Word document that has videos on it that may help you. As we go through, a lot of them have them embedded in the PowerPoints, but I want to add a Word document to go over some Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 material. Now, here's your lecture recordings. So these are broken down by objective. This is me essentially going over the PowerPoint. So if you want to hear explanation, I try to explain as best I can and give you some tips and tricks as I go. Same thing for chemistry. A lot of times it's hard for some students just to read things and understand. So this is a way to kind of hear these concepts explained. It's really pretty much just going over the PowerPoint though. So you could watch these and fill in the note handouts as you go. You also have lots of study materials. Now these are not required. Some of these are the handouts that are in your packet. There's also some practice activities. Notice these are not for a grade, okay? If they're under the practice category, they are not for a grade. You do not have to do them. It does not mean that you should not do them. I would definitely encourage you to try out some of these practice activities. A lot of them you can do multiple times, and every time you expose yourself to test questions, you're going to hopefully be more prepared for that test. So these kind of go along with some pages that are in your handouts. If you buy the textbook, you could use the textbook. If you don't buy the textbook, you could easily just use the notes. But there's a paper copy called Pre-Chapter 1 Notes. Once again, not required, but the more practice you can do, the better, okay? All right, something else you can do. This is something that Ms. Grisham created, so I can't take credit for this. But they kind of go along with the videos. As you cover kind of one objective at a time, there's some short quizzes. And the answer key is provided, so this is just a great way. Maybe cover an objective, and then you could come and test yourself and make sure that you understood that objective. So here's that anatomy versus physiology. You could click on, let's say, objective 6, and you just have some quick questions to kind of make sure that you understood that material. So there's not nothing that you have to do, but you could easily turn these into flashcards, or you could just simply kind of do a practice quiz over each objective. All right. Now, as we move on in the Moodle, all right, so there's our practice. We have notes, we have recordings, we have some study materials, we have some practice activities, and then we get to the graded activities. Now, these are the ones that you have to do, okay? These are the ones that are due by the end of the unit, and once again, I highly recommend that you do them before you take the test. Do not wait until the very last minute. But you have a quiz. Notice there's only one attempt, okay? So, you can use your notes, but I would highly encourage you to study as though you don't get to use your notes, okay? Prepare for the quiz, and then just kind of use your notes as a fallback. Notice you do have a due date here. This will not be extended, so make sure you get this completed. So after you've done everything for Chapter 1, you've done practices, you're now ready to take the quiz. You get one attempt. It is timed, more than enough time for you to take this quiz. But please be sure that you get these graded activities done. You can see that they're all labeled in red for a grade. Now this is a video that you need to watch. It's about your chemistry unit, ionic and covalent bonds. In order for you to get credit for doing it, you do have to hit submit. Okay, so please make sure that you submit once you complete the video. Otherwise, the grade will not record. Then you have a post-chapter 2 quiz. And so these are your only 3 homework graded assignments that you have for lecture test 1. All right, the last thing that you have are your tests. Okay, now remember you have 2 options. You can take it in the testing center. Personally, I would highly recommend the testing center if at all possible. It's a little more controlled. There really won't be questions about academic dishonesty. But you go, you take the test. You will have 5 days. The test is going to open up on Thursday, and you will have Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to take this test, okay? So you have a 5-day window. So once again, not going to allow late work. Okay, you need to get the test done within that 5-day window. This test is going to be due by April 1st, by the time the testing center closes. So that is one option for taking your test. The other option is you can take it on your home computer. You do need to have a camera. You really can't do this on your phone. But in order to take this test, you do have to take that practice quiz, okay? So back on the welcome page, if you plan on using Respondus, it's not for a grade, but you do need to take that practice Respondus quiz, or you will not be able to open an actual test in Respondus. Once again, you have a 5-day window, and because the testing center closes at 8, this test will close at 8. Okay, you do not get extra time if you take it at home. So please be sure that you're paying attention to your due dates and your ending times, and that way we don't have any issues or zeros on test. Now, do not take both of these, okay? You're either going to take it in the testing center or you're going to take it at home on the Respondus Lockdown browser. And that is going to complete Lecture 1 materials. Please, please, please start early, okay? You guys have a lot of material to learn in a very short period of time. I hate that I don't get to see you face to face. This web class is still a little bit strange to me, but I'm going to encourage you that if you need help, get it, okay? If you have questions, ask them. Please do not sit there at home, be confused, and not get help, okay? You're more than welcome to come see me up during my office hours. You're more than welcome to make an appointment if it's outside of my office hours. If you have questions, email is the best way to contact me. So that is going to wrap up Lecture Test 1 material. Good luck to you guys. Please communicate if you need help, and I hope you have a great first week of class.